You can't really talk about Kendrick Lamar without talking about pain, but not in some corny, sad boy way. Kendrick's whole thing's taking the worst, most soul-crushing parts of life and flipping them into something bigger than him, something beautiful, something true. And honestly, he's been doing it since the jump. Take Good Kid, Mad City. This wasn't just an album about growing up in Compton, it was about surviving Compton, mentally and physically. Songs like The Art of Peer Pressure aren't just stories about being young and stupid. They're about that feeling when you know better, but do it anyway, because not fitting in could get you clowned, or worse. Kendrick painted this world where the wrong turn could literally cost you your life, and in Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, he hits even harder. It's like you're hearing ghosts talk to you, friends who didn't make it, families stuck in the cycle, Kendrick questioning if telling these stories even matters. It's not just trauma for drama, he's trying to give these lives some kind of meaning. Then when he drops To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick levels up, like way up. Now it's not just his personal trauma, it's collective trauma, black trauma, American trauma. He's not just telling his story anymore, he's holding up a mirror to a whole country's wounds. You is probably one of the rawest songs ever made. He's literally screaming at himself in a hotel room, drunk and broken, calling himself a fraud, a failure. It's not polished, it's not pretty, it's just real. Most rappers give you their highlight reels. Kendrick gave you the bloopers, the ugly moments, the nights you don't post about. He's saying, yeah, I made it out, but at what cost? And right when you're drowning in that darkness, when it feels like there's no way out, he hits you with all right, not in a corny, everything's fine way, but in a stubborn, defiant way. Like, we're still here and that means something. That's hope born out of survival, not naivety. Then comes Damn, and it's Kendrick basically wrestling with God, with fate, with himself. It's like he took everything he was feeling and just threw it into the fire to see what survived. Songs like Fear show how trauma isn't always some big dramatic event you can point to. Sometimes it's just this quiet, everyday anxiety you carry around like a second skin. Being scared as a kid, being scared as a broke teenager, being scared even when you're rich and famous, because deep down you know how fast it can all fall apart. You know nothing is promised. Kendrick's trauma follows him everywhere, and he never pretends otherwise. He doesn't fake peace just because he made it to the charts. He lives with the tension, and he raps from inside it. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers hit differently though. That album was like Kendrick finally going to therapy, and not just going, but staying, sitting in the uncomfortable silence, wrestling with things he can't out-rap, can't outthink, can't ignore. Mother Ice Sober feels like you're listening to someone read their deepest, most shameful secrets out loud. Not for clout, not for sympathy, but because somebody has to say it. Somebody has to break the cycle. He talks about generational curses, about carrying trauma that isn't even yours to begin with, about dealing with abuse, therapy, vulnerability, all the things that black men especially get taught to bury deep. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't even catchy half the time, but it was necessary. Kendrick knew some fans would bounce, would say, "Where's the bangers?" But he didn't care. The art came first. The truth came first. And now with his latest project, GNX, Kendrick feels like he's building on that even more. He's not trying to run from the past anymore. He's trying to live with it. Songs like Reincarnated and TV Off show a Kendrick who isn't just surviving his trauma. He's trying to understand it, to sit with it without letting it define him. Not every wound scabs over cleanly. Some never will. Sometimes you limp forward anyway, scars and all. GNX feels less about pain itself and more about processing it. Not rushing to heal, not rushing to move on, but accepting that some battles don't end with victory. They end with understanding. Kendrick isn't trying to be the hero anymore. He's just trying to be human. What's wild is, through all these albums, Kendrick never packaged his trauma to sell some "look how hard my life was" story. He didn't glamorize it. He didn't wallow in it either. He transformed it. He turned it into stories, characters, moments that feel so personal they almost sting, but somehow so universal that you can't help but see pieces of yourself in them too. He took the ugliest parts of living and made them sing. And the thing is, Kendrick's evolution isn't just about getting better at telling his story. It's about getting braver. Every album strips away a little more armor, a little more ego, a little more of the need to look perfect. He's not trying to be the voice of a generation because it sounds good on paper. He's doing it because he has to, because if he doesn't, who will? He's showing us that real strength isn't about being untouchable. It's about being honest, even when that honesty makes you look weak, even when it makes you look scared or selfish or confused, especially then, because that's where the real work is. That's why Kendrick's music sticks with you. It's not just the beats or the bars, though those are incredible too. It's the feeling that you're hearing something true, something raw, even when it's messy, especially when it's messy. In a world that loves to polish up pain into something marketable and shiny, Kendrick reminds us that some stories aren't meant to be neat. They're meant to be felt. They're meant to leave a mark.